Hey everyone, a new World War II line is coming to World of Tanks Modern Armor on June 24th, and it is US Yo Heavy Tanks. On PC, these tanks feature the unique reverse track mechanic, which means even if you lose one track, you can still go backward or forward, but just slowly. But that mechanic, unfortunately, will not be coming to console. We are getting a dumbed down version of the mechanic, probably more efficient and more powerful though. But unfortunately, we are not getting this unique mechanic because if we got that mechanic, it would have been possible. We can get that mechanic for 279E or some similar tanks which have different tracks like Pangula or AE Phase 1. But we are getting a buff to the tracks of these tanks. So essentially, these tracks or tanks will have 100 to 200% above normal track health. So I checked each tank, they essentially have double the track health, which means if you were to fire once to damage the track, for these tanks you'll have to fire twice, and they also have a 30% faster repair speed starting at tier 7. So first, what should you do to get ready for this line? The line will branch off tier 5 T1 heavy tank, so make sure that tank is fully upgraded so you can get the tier 6 right away. However, your actual Yo tank starts at tier 7, so we do have a new tier 6 Pawlack, but that doesn't have the Yo tank mechanic of extra track health as well as the faster repair speed. It's a regular tank. When reviewing these different tanks, essentially these tanks are more faster than the corresponding US heavy line, the D10 E5. So they're faster, they're more mobile, better power to weight, and it comes at a cost of worse DPM, gun handling, as well as slightly less hit points. But as mentioned earlier, these tanks do have extra track health as well as track repair speed. So essentially, you don't even have to run track mechanic because usually when you run track mechanic, it's 25% track repair speed. And with these tanks, you can have that slot empty because you're still better than your regular tank with track mechanic. So you save one skill. Definitely when you get tracked, you're not going to get perma-tracked no matter what tank is shooting at you, unless of course they are auto loaders. So let's look at the first tanks, Pawlack, tier 6, 86,000 XP and a million silver. We'll do a stats comparison side by side with the existing line. And as I said, as I was mentioning earlier, they have better mobility, but it comes at an expense of DPM as well as gun handling. However, they do have even faster shell velocity as well. So for the first tank, we're comparing it with M6. The hit points is 950, 50 less than M6. Power to weight 17. For M6, the power to weight, as I said, they're slow, right? The speed as well as the horsepower. And the horsepower is 16.47. Speed 35 for the new tank, 40. 45 for the new tank and 40 for M6. Reverse speed 14. Yeah, these tanks also have a better reverse speed. M6 has 12, this goes 14, so that helps going backward and forward, especially reverse, because you can get out of position quickly. Hull reverse of 32, turret 35, 9 degrees gun depression on the tier 6, M6 has 10. Penetration 160-205, M6 does have a better pen, 160 standard, which is the same, and 243 on premium. 2.4 seconds of aim time and 0.42 accuracy on the Pawlack, along with 9 seconds of base reload time. And if you look at M6, 2.3 seconds of aim time, 0.1 better, 0.3 accuracy, so 0.4 accuracy better, and the reload of 7.6. As you can see, a huge difference between the accuracy as well as DPM. About 300, the base DPM is 1600 for Pawlack and 1900 for M6. Now coming to the shell velocity is 972 for standard, APCR 1177, and for M6 they have slower shell velocity. So both the tank as well as the shell velocity is better for the new tank Pawlack, but everything else is M6. And looking at these two tanks, I would say M6 probably a winner, but close. They do have the advantages, even though the Pawlack does not offer that the track health boost. I would say for this tank, I will give M6 slightly better. And moving on to our tier 7, M2Y, comparing it to 329. And now this is where that the dumbed down mechanic, or actually, as I said, right, we don't have that unique mechanic or the visual mechanic, but in fact, the actual functionality will come in more handy with how they're implementing for us, because it's more powerful. So looking at the hit points, T29 with 1250 and M2Y with 1180. So they always have less HP. Around tier 9, tier 8, they have similar HP and similar DPM, but the 6, 7, and even the 10, they have less HP and less DPM. Speed limit 40 horsepower 14, and T29 it is sluggish 35, and the horsepower for T29 is 12. So a significant difference, at least 1.5 on horsepower, and then we have 5 on the speed. I think that's going to be significant because T29 feels sluggish. Reverse speed of 15 compared to 12 of T29. And so I managed to grab the track health from the Watt tax.gg. So they have a track health of 390 for M2Y. We don't see the track health on console, but if you go by PC, the track health is 190. So that's twice better, as well as the repair speed is 4.8. Now I don't know what our repair speed is, but PC says 12 seconds of base, but I think ours are slightly better. So let's just go with the 30% better repair speed and 4.8. So any tank, they need to have 4 seconds of DPM if you're a perma tracker, because I don't know how the track speed is affected by the crew, because I assume like brother in arms and food might impact the repair speed as well, which they do. So probably you need to have sub 4 seconds of DPM, and I don't think any autoloader can achieve that. Gun depression is same, 10 degrees, 20 degrees gun elevation, while T29 has 15. Aim time of 2.3, accuracy 0.39, and reload 8.8. And we're on T29, again, same aim time 2.3, accuracy slightly better 0.38, so not much difference. Reload time is 7.6. So the 90mm, the T29 has 250 better DPM, 1637 versus 1894. And the penetration is similar to the standard 202, the new tank, 242 premium. And on T29 is 160 standard, 243 premium. So actually, this is carrying the T20 carries the M6 gun, so the standard is better on M2Y, but the premium is better on T29. But of course, T29 also has a 105 gun that everyone uses, which does again have a better standard pen of 198 and premium 245. So T29 does have that two options, and mostly people use the 105. They do, again, the shell velocity is faster for M2Y. I'm probably butchering the name. Maybe it's not M2Y, it's something else. But I'm not the greatest at the historical knowledge about tanks. So AP900, APCR 1150, and if you look at T29, 853 standard, and 1066 is AP, and that's consistency, right? Just keep 3 things in mind: more mobility, better shell velocity, and better track health and repair speed. That's it. Everything else goes to the other tanks, majority of the time, or if anything, similar. So for this one, I would say it's close, right? The mechanic is finally implemented, and T20 I do find it sluggish. I think they might be close. Tier 7 might be close, but it just comes down to why, if you should grind the line or not, right? And that I don't know yet. I don't know. I have to like play it, find if I find it more enjoyable, because I don't think the tier 10 is gonna be as anywhere close to E5, because E5 has been buffed 3,500 times. So same with the entire line actually. The M103 is also a monster. Moving on to the next, M3Y. And comparing it to the T32, hit points same, and that's what I was saying. The 8 and 9, they have the similar hit points. T32 actually is 50 more. I thought it's 1500. Power to weight 15, and T32 boasting a power to weight of 13.9. Speed limit of 40 and 17 in reverse. That 17 is going to come in handy. T32 with 35 and 14 hull traverse 28 degrees, and track health 420. Again, that's huge. If you go by PC, the T32 track health is 220. So I don't know like how true that is because I went off the PC values. We don't have access to console. Track repair speed the same, 4.8 monster track repair speed. Turret traverse 30 degrees. If you look at the turret traverse of T32, 25 again is at the mobility, right? And traverse comes with the mobility as well. And the hull traverse is 25 as well. And the hull traverse for Yo tank is 28. So both the turret and hull traverse are also better with these tanks. 320 alpha standard is 215, premium 251. They do suffer from penetration, especially the premium as we go forward by 10 or so. So 218 standard and 265 premium for T32. Aim time 2 seconds. The Yo tank 2.1 for T32. Accuracy 0.37, so same accuracy for both tanks, and reload time 8.9 versus 9.5 for T32, and the base DPM. So this is one tank where they have like same aim time, better accuracy, and a better DPM with T32 than T32 or the regular tank. So 2157. So this tank definitely a clear winner. Yeah, it does have slightly less penetration, but the more mobility, slightly less HP, and of course the shell velocity is again faster with 900 and 1100, where T32 is 945 and 1181. Actually, T32 is slightly faster. So in this tank, looking at the stats, the accuracy advantage is taken away from T32, and the shell velocity advantage is taken away from this tank. So it's very close, I would say. But with that mechanic, I think M3Y is the better version. But T32 is known for its solid and impenetrable turret. If we look at the armor, we have to play it, but I don't think this turret can match T32, and that's probably the reason they did the stats. T29 hull down is a monster, T32 hull down is a monster, M103 if you can hide the hatch, pretty solid. And these tanks, they do have the 10 degrees of gun depression. We will have to see how they actually perform in the terrain, because sometimes something looks great on PC but performs terribly on console, and then sometimes it looks terrible on PC and works well. So I have to like play this tank to see how this armor holds up. But T20 and T32 both, they're monster tanks. When they're hull down, very difficult to hit. So let's look at the tier 9 M45. You know, I'm getting more confident that I'm saying it wrong, right, that not 4 actually, this is M65. Why? Need to go back to Roman numeral classes. Looking at the stats. For this one, yeah, same hit points, 1900. Power to weight is 16.78, and M103 15. So overall, we see like 1.5 power to weight difference. Speed limit 40 and the 17. M103 34 12. Hull traverse of 28 degrees, and then we have a hull traverse here 30. Track health of 440. M103 track health, if you have to trust tanks or GG, is 240. So 200 better track health. Track repair speed of 4.8. Of course, the track repair speed is same for everything. Turret traverse 34 degrees and 32 on M103. So M103 pretty mobile. When it comes to the turret rotation, gun depression of 10, elevation 20. The M103 same gun depression but 15 elevation. They do all have like a via turret, right? So you could identify Yo tank, starting tier 7, of course, that they're Yo tanks because they're gonna have this alien looking turret. 253 standard pen, 310 premium, M103 leading in penetration. It has 258 standard and 340 heat. The 340 heat, basically, it means it can pen everything. 310 heat does struggle at times, especially against super heavy when they're angled. Aim time 2.3. 420 alpha is the same across both tanks, and then the accuracy of 0.37. M103 aim time slightly better, 2.2, and the accuracy also slightly better, 0.35. The reload on M6Y is 10.2, and M103 is 10.8. Base DPM comes to 2470, and for M103 2335. So yeah, very, very close accuracy, better DPM for this tank as well, same HP, more mobility. Standard is AP premium heat of and both go at 1000, and for M103 they both go at 1067. So the shells are slightly slower in this one, not by that much though. But yeah, and I think for this, for tier 9, I think M6Y is better because better DPM, better mobility, and yeah, a slightly lower speed, but I don't think that would be an issue though. And of course, they have the same HP. That's usually a deciding factor. So I think the tier 9 M6Y is it looks better than the tier 9. And the armor, I'm gonna say it does have a monster upper and lower plate again. For this one, we'll have to see how the angles hold up. They look okay. Like I'm not thinking much about the armor because I can't really judge the armor unless we actually play the tank, right? From stats, you can still get an idea, but it's rough for the armor. And now moving to the final M5Y. This is the tank. Basically, we grind for the tier 10 and compare its stats with the E5. So E5, as I said, it has been buffed 3,500 times. Yeah, I doubt any tank can be as good as E5. E5 is essentially the jack of all trades and one of the best, if not the best tank in the game. And any tank, especially at release, it's not going to compete with it. And I doubt this tank can either. Maybe they'll buff it in the future, but it depends, right? If people actually grind this line, that's the only reason they'll buff it, right? And if they don't, then it's just not going to happen because more people have this tank. That means the tank will perform bad and it'll get buffed. That's why E5 has been buffed so many times. But if only very few people grind it, don't expect it to get any buff. In fact, it might get nerfed like SD2, which was not that great to begin with. So let's get started with the comparison. Hit points 2200, E5 2400. Power to weight 18.44, still maintaining that mobility advantage. As the E4's power to weight is 16.28, so that's 2 difference. Speed limit 40, reverse 17. E5 goes 37, reverse 12. So besides hit point, M5Y is leading. Hull traverse 30. From what I remember, E5 did get a hull traverse buff, and the traverse for hull is 36. Are you surprised E5 is better hull traverse because the other line or the new line had the better hull traverse throughout? Track health 450. If we believe tank CG, the track health is 250. Track repair speed of 4.8. So let's just go 30% better. Turret traverse of 37, and E5 is 32. So it does have better turret traverse. Gun depression 12. So that's where it's coming in handy. E5 has 8. So throughout the entire line, they had the 10 or similar, but this 12 versus 8 might be a deciding factor. Again, we'll see. Like it comes out to actual armor as well, because E5 just pumps up the DPM. Standard penetration 258, premium 310. Standard is same as E5, but again E5 with a higher premium pen of 340. Aim time 2.3, E5 with the 2 seconds, accuracy point 3.7, and E5 has 0.31. Now here's the problem though, the DPM or reload time is 10.6, and E5's reload is 8.7. So 2 seconds or 2.1 second of reload difference. DPM close to 2500, 2490, and E5 with 2900. So if you could use a 12 degrees of gun depression, this tank can work. You do get that extra gun depression. And you don't have many tanks that can offer 12 degrees. I think the only tanks we have so far is Murat and Ekranman in regular mode, and of course we have those siege mode tanks, which apparently supposed to have 13 or 14 degrees, but in reality have 1 degree of gun depression because they keep jumping around. So I think this is the first single shot tank. Again, there might be one tank I'm missing, or very few. That not many tanks have the 12 degrees of gun depression. So if you're in a position to utilize that, this tank could be exciting. But I think in most situations, E5 is a clear winner. But where the ridges are, this tank might be able to dominate, because it doesn't, like, this line doesn't have a huge hatches. So if you look at the tank, very small hatch, and if you're looking now, they might be able to hit it. The hull seems similar to the entire line's hull seems similar to the E5. The angled upper hull and the lower hull, but lower hull obviously will be able to get pinned. The problem is, like, it's so tall, so sometimes if you overexpose your turret, it might get hit in the side because how they look. But I think it will be exciting to play this tank. They're new because of that extra track health and repair speed. I can put something else instead of track mechanic, and if I put track mechanic, basically that repair speed's gonna be crazy. And then the 12 degrees gun depression, a lot of areas will be playable, but at the same time, I expect it to have, I mean, it's a heavy tank, so no accuracy at all. Or sorry, no concealment at all. And the life of heavy tanks can be rough, though. And this tall profile could also be a disadvantage because sometimes you have very small ridges where you can peek and hide. Like I7 can work very well, but then you have these tanks that can never hide. You need big ridges. So yeah, you do get 12 degrees of gun depression, but then you also need like big ridges to completely hide yourself if you want to be super effective. But overall, I think our mechanic, yeah, it's dumbed down, but I think it is more powerful. The mechanic is more powerful, but still make sure you have the repair kits you can back up quickly. And yeah, and I think the thing you should do is, for example, someone shot your track, it's not damaged, you should back up and cover and repair your track, because that's that extra health is coming in, because usually the tank doesn't have that high module damage. And if I go by the numbers, I don't think you can track this tank with one shot. I don't know how it'll work if you hit the track below, but I expect that you hit the track, it'll damage it, and then you get back and cover, repair it, and like don't peek. Use it like that. Use that extra health as a warning system, because once you're tracked, yeah, it'll repair it quickly, but you'll still be immobile for that period of time. Yeah, looks exciting. I'll be grinding this line next week when it drops, doing reviews for each tank every day. Hopefully we'll have the tier 10 by the weekend and have some good games. Hopefully we can mark the tier 10 at least. So yeah, that is it for this video. Do let me know in comments. What do you think about this line? Are you planning to grind it, or you're like, nah, I don't want to grind it? Especially because they took away the mechanic. Was that mechanic a key factor for you, or you like what they have done with it? Of course, as I said, right, we are not getting a new mechanic. We're just getting an improved version of our existing mechanic, just like a buff to the existing mechanic for these tanks. Also, if you're still not in regiments, make sure to check out our community regiment, Loki hyphen. The first two regiments are almost full. Underscore Loki and hyphen Loki, they're full. So we opened the third one. So if you're still looking, have some friends you want to play together, the third regiment is open, brand new so far. And it is Loki hyphen. And as I said, the reason I say it, you can join any regiment, doesn't have to be this one, because don't miss out on Regi coins, which are exclusive coins which you can use to buy items from regiment store. That items cannot be purchased with silver or gold. I see that on my every video. And the reason I keep repeating is I see a lot of players playing in the game and they're not in clan or regiment, which means you're missing out on free currency. And I would hate for you to see that, because you can get camos, like some solid camos for 2k gold or 2k regiment coins, and of course a tank as well time to time. And the reward's going to get better because this regiment is a huge improvement or a quality of life. It's going to get better with time. So that's it for this video. Check out the regiment link in description as well as community Discord, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.